Hi, my love. It's me again. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about addictive behavior. And as a teen, I don't know what teens are getting into today, but I know when I was a teenager, there were so many addictive behaviors. You talk about like masturbation, pornography, some people were smoking, some people were exploring with sexuality. And as a person who is very grateful for life and grateful for the creator, it's so easy to get stuck between what is right and wrong. Um, and I think as a teen, um, I realized something. I mean, doing it the wrong way for so long, I realized something. I realized that right and wrong is no, don't get me wrong, there is right and wrong, and you really should try to do right. You should always try to do right. But analyzing your own thoughts with right and wrong creates shame. And when you have shame, you can't actually tackle the problem. So I'll talk about addiction because addiction is something that as you get older, it doesn't go away because so many times we're like, oh my gosh, I messed up. I need to stop this behavior. I need to stop it now. But no matter how much you say stop, biology happens, right? And that is, I like how I wrote it down. I wrote it down here for you, what I wanted to say. And I said, most often you would recognize that we didn't get the tools or the freedom to explore and express emotion. And that's because most addictive behaviors, if not all, is an emotional problem. It is an emotional problem, but we try to make it every other problem. We try to make it a sexual problem, a spiritual problem, right? It is emotional. And I don't know how you were raised, but I remember growing up, I was not given the freedom to express negative, negative. So anger, right? Um, Irritation, frustration. You all had to like pull it together. They're like, I don't know what they say in the States, but I know my mother used to say, fix your face, girl, fix your face, fix your attitude, right? And I'm not saying you ain't got to walk around with a stink attitude, right? But if you don't feel happy, that is an emotion. And just like when you do feel happy, you have to express that emotion. When you feel angry, it should be expressed. When you feel sad, it should be expressed. So constantly suppressing emotion, it once it's like it gets worked up within you and it wants to express itself somewhere. So instead of going into right and wrong, should I do this? Should I not do this? Let me tell you, honey, you're already doing it. You are already doing it. So set it aside and stop judging yourself. Analyze yourself. So every time you get hit back or lick back into that addictive behavior, think about it. Don't say, oh, I'm so wrong, I'm so bad, you're just tearing yourself down. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Stop up for a moment and say, what was happening right before I felt like I needed to do this, whether it's smoke, drink, masturbate, whatever it is. Just say, what was happening in my life right before? What made me feel like, was I feeling happy or was I feeling nervous or was I feeling angry or was I stressed? What was happening? That is the first step, identifying the emotion. You don't have to, you don't have to, at this point, you don't have to commit to doing anything. You don't have to try to figure out how to take care of that emotion, but just identify, What emotion did I feel right before I did this? If you journal, write it down and watch the pattern. Every time you engage in any kind of addictive behavior, identify what emotion you feel. Most times, most likely, what's going to happen is you're going to feel, you're going to see a pattern that every time I feel, I do. And I don't know if you watched my video before, but knowledge is, information, words, just identifying that emotion, just saying the word, right? Is so powerful to you because over time you will realize that your emotion that is trying to be expressed. And instead of telling yourself, oh, this is wrong. I don't like it. I'm a terrible self. Just beating yourself up. Instead of doing that, what's going to happen is that you're not going to be the problem. The emotion is going to be the problem. And what happens to problems? We try to fix them, right? So instead of devaluing yourself and then, everybody telling you all kind of thing like, be happy, smile, it's going to be okay. They're trying to fix the problem, like you are the problem, but you're not the problem. The emotion is the problem. It needs to be expressed. So that's my a story I would tell you with myself personally is I try to um, I believe in Jesus ransom sacrifice, and when I would feel like I wanted to beat myself up for slipping back into addictive behavior, I would just pray and ask for forgiveness and then um, not make that into my character or not let it cut into my esteem, knowing that I was forgiven, knowing that Christ died for sinners. And hey, this just proved I am a sinner. So you know what? I qualify. I qualify for his sacrifice. And I would just be grateful and appreciative and focus more on what I qualified for and what made me do what I did. Now, it's not all going to come to you in a week, in a day, in a moment, but over time, it's like a building block that will help you not spiral into self destructive, addictive behavior when you get older. So, that's just a tool I give you. Identify what emotion you have and remember that if you ask for forgiveness, you will be forgiven. If you really, in your heart, don't want to do it and you ask for forgiveness, you will be forgiven. So act like you're forgiven. Act like you're forgiven. Don't tear yourself down. Analyze. Don't know what's that. Analyze, analyze yourself and um, analyze your emotion. Know what is you versus what is um, the habit, and it's not the same. It's not the same. So I hope this gave you a little comfort, a little clarity, and raise your esteem a little bit. Okay? Thank you for joining. Remember, I like to walk naked. Naked, I like to walk. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Okay, I go.